So one of the things that we talk about in the Illumination Project a ton is how we can become wounded healers. And there's a question where someone wrote in on behalf of their sister saying, my sister's been in a relationship for about a year and is just kind of paralyzed about getting married because we grew up in a home where our parents got divorced. So what would you, I mean, there's way more on this in the Illumination Project, but what would you kind of say to that?
Well, those are understandable fears. I think, you know, if we've only had an experience that sees relationships collapse, and especially if the mother and father and everybody in the family is clueless on why that relationship ended, why there was a divorce, no one's really clear, then there's the sense, well, if we don't know why and what was the cause, then this could come out of nowhere and happen to me.
Yeah.
And that sense of uncertainty creates anxiety and fears and so on and so forth. But that's why we've written Love and Respect, that this is a positive track. If you know how to deal with those moments when we feel unloved or disrespected, in the early relationship, there isn't going to be contempt and hostility. It's these normal arguments. If you know how to deal, the relationship in all likelihood is going to succeed.
You make a choice. You and Mom both came out of homes
Yeah,
where you didn't have good models, and you said, we're going to do things differently.
Yeah, there isn't this, if we are predestined to misery because our parents had bad relationships, then what's the point of all of this? In theoretical building, there's what we call compensatory theory and the social learning theory. Social learning theory says you learn from your parents and you end up being just like your dad, just like your mom, and that's the fear she has, or he has, whoever wrote. Yeah. Or the compensatory says you're going to compensate. You're going to say, you know what, I'm not going to be that way, and I'm going to take steps not to do that. My dad had problems with rage. I'm not going to enter into that. I see the damage of that. And there are a plethora of people who subscribe to the compensatory worldview, and they become the wiser for it. Through their suffering, through their wounds, they become that wounded healer.
Well, and if I don't know if they're believers or not, but if they're believers, then to not believe that you can make a change, then you're negating the truth of the gospel,
that's exactly right.
That there is healing.
In fact, where there is sin, the Bible says grace abounds. And even if evil things have happened to us, good can come out of even that. The Lord has His way of orchestrating things. We've just seen too many people have such positive relationships who came out of horrible families of origin.
On the next Ask Joy, Emerson and Joy go looking for moose and squirrel.
Oh, look at the buildings that look like ice cream cones.
It reminds me here of being in Moscow. When you were a little girl, we used to do Olga the Muscovite.
I want to do that right now.
Olga